Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology. In today's show, Computer Wednesday, we're going to talk about Samsung M21 and M31. Now these are the new offerings for mid 2020. So let's dive right into it. Well, I have to explain this topic very clearly. I always talk about mobile phones that are around 15,000 plus, basically 15,000 rupees, around 200 plus dollars basically, so to say. Now there is a very specific reason for this price point. Anything below this, generally company would have such a low profit margin that the product they will make would be barely enough. Like it would be like bare minimum, because again company have to make a profit, otherwise what's their point of doing business. So 15,000 is kind of golden spot. Too little, you will end up with a phone that is compromised in way too many ways. You spend more than that. The problem is mobile is something that we replace like clothes. We replace it every 2-3 years, so to say. So you have to take that price and multiply it by, divide it by 24, and then you calculate the cost. So for me, for most of the civilian, because yes, Android used to be gibberish in early years. Like I have been using it for 6 years. It used to be gibberish. From gibberish to now a reliable phone for such a low price, as in like a phone which has updates, a phone which has security updates for guaranteed for around 2 to 3 years. So, and quality battery life, high quality display and all that. Like almost everything that a high end phone can give you, you can get it here. So this price point is critical. Now, first thing I look for is OLED, because what do you use your mobile phone for? Basically, looking at it. How do you look at it? You look at a display. So the biggest change in recent time is not in the camera quality and all that. It's basically going from LCD to OLED. Specifically, if you use your mobile phone in bed, you will be shocked how much difference LCD versus OLED. And this is a basically Apple example. Like there is a huge difference. Like no matter how good you are, like how much calibration you do for LCD, it will not compare to an OLED system. So OLED is one of the critical requirements, and given the fact that Samsung is a manufacturing behemoth of OLED technology, generally they are the only company that can give OLED for a very low price. So that's the first one. You need OLED. Then battery is the second thing that generally gives out. Basically that will affect how good you feel. Like you could have the best performing mobile phone, but here's the deal: the moment you come into office, it's like just plug it in. You come to home, you plug it in. You're not having fun basically. So again, some company did try to put a freaking power bank directly into the mobile phone, but let's be practical here. You do need a big battery. It is one thing that you must have. And here's another aspect: if you have let's say in iPhone, they realized that generally it would be better to give two small batteries. Benefit: engineers will get much more flexibility with electronic design, and company profit would be, because while they have two phones, so capacity in the early days would be awesome. You will be like, yeah, 4,000 milliamp hour battery. The problem is it will degrade faster. So if you have one large cell, let's say one cell that is 4,000 milliamp hour compared to two cells that are 2,000 milliamp hour each, 2,000 milliamp hour will degrade quickly. So around 18 months you will start to notice, hey, this phone is not working. So that is very awesome for Apple, because again, they gave you an awesome phone, they gave you awesome battery life, and it eroded perfectly on time, so that you cannot stretch it for many years as they used to do in older ones. So you have to do battery replacement. That's why battery replacement is catching all the rage, because this L-shaped battery, they are inherently designed that way. So it's like win-win. Engineers get more freedom and luxury in designing the internal components, and company gets the benefits. The people have to do battery replacement. So generally one big huge cell is much better than multiple small cells. Then we come to tiny part is memory card hold actually helps. The reason for that is not everyone has awesome quality network coverage, and given the how people react to Starlink news in America, I'm reasonably sure not even Americans have good wireless networking system. So reality is you have to do offline. Now in your mobile phone, from YouTube to Netflix to Amazon Prime, almost all of them allows you to do offline media storage. Now here's the problem: memory card is replaceable, but not the internal memory. It's not like a computer where you just open it up and change it. Now flash memory has a limited lifespan. Inherently it has a limited lifespan. You cannot change it. So what does that translate to? Because every time you're running the operating system, which is running 24/7, mobile phone, you rarely shut it down, so it's eroding the memory. Now if you remove the bulk load of that, basically instead of like only small read and writes, it will keep doing, and you remove the big files, basically songs, photographs, Netflix offline, YouTube offline, basically big chunky files into your memory card, you basically half the read and write stress on your flash chip. That will allow your mobile phone to last longer. And because that's the first thing people start with, hey dude, my phone feels slow. Like what else has degraded? The first thing that degrades is the memory chip. To preserve the memory chip, utilizing an external system is much better, because you can replace the external memory card. And nowadays the phones support up to 512 gigabyte card. Even though a 512 gigabyte card is not very cheap right now, it will be in few years. So you can really stretch your basically limited lifespan on such a cheap phone. That is why memory card slot is important. Now in India, most of us have dual SIM, basically one for 4G data, one for a phone call, or sometimes very few of us actually now have one SIM. So we have dual SIM. Many Chinese offerings also apply, basically give us the luxury of memory card, but it's compromised. Basically, either you use two SIM or you use one SIM plus memory card. This puppy has all three. So these are my requirements. Basically, have to have OLED, have to have a big battery, and it would be really nice if it has the luxury of memory card. Again, that's not applicable to most of you if you only have one SIM. Now, I've talked in detail about Samsung. While Samsung is a capable company and like is the biggest corporation on this planet, basically they have 80 companies inside them. Basically, Samsung Electronics, yeah, that's jump change for them. That's like 4 or 5%. Samsung Semiconductor, that's like so huge they sell to basically every Tom, Dick, and Harry other company, and not to mention they can directly compete to Intel on Intel's front. They're that big. They have like an industry, a heavy metal industry, which builds big things like container ships. Another department that builds freaking military assets and all that. So they're huge. Then why the heck their products are not that awesome? They have simple issues. Like every time somebody complains to Samsung, it's like, bro, you are missing this. They keep up ending making a new model. It's like they have too many models. So I recently did a thorough, basically a dedicated video on that. TLDR of that is basically from 10,000 rupees to 20,000, which is a very small band. In this band, there is 12 independent models, and if you add up every single variation, basically 4GB variant, 6GB variant, 64GB variant, 128GB variant, you add up all of those, you will have upwards of 41 independent variants is available in this price zone. That's just gibberish. So there is a whole problem with Samsung phones is like they have same tech on many phone chassis, so it becomes a ludicrously convoluted in order to like how the heck you're gonna know which you should buy, because you could buy a phone in the same price and you will end up like 2-year-old technology versus a latest technology. So that's a really frustrating. Now in India, it's even more complicated because India has two independent lineup fine-tuned for this price zone. It has a lineup known as A series, Galaxy A series. Now this is a worldwide series phone available in Europe and America. However, the specifications are not awesome. Price to performance ratio is not awesome. But for India, they have specific lineup known as M. Now, if you buy any M series phone, if you read behind the box, it will be specified as make for India. This is a Samsung initiative because of China's proximity to us, and they started to flood market with really narrow margin smartphones. And like company like MI, they did not make profit on their phones at all for a few years in just order to penetrate the market, and that strategy worked. So Samsung was almost kicked out of India. It was like, bro, nobody even uses Samsung. So Samsung started to make dedicated hardware just for Indian market. That's why we can get such an awesome mobile phone for the price. I'm not talking like it's a iPhone killer or something like that. I'm not talking about that. Like for the amount of money I'm paying, what I'm getting. Like few years ago, if you had told me like I'm getting something that cheap, not even few years, just 3 years ago, I would have laughed. Like OLED for such a low price with 6,000 milliamp hour battery, I'm like, whoa. So this has that with USB-C, everything is here in awesome. Now the problem comes with Samsung is like you have to have an Excel sheet in order to figure out which one you should buy. Now thankfully I did all the heavy lifting for you. So if you want to buy M21, which is a new release for this time, this is basically rebranded M30s. Now I have both M30 and M30s. M30s was I bought it as a gift, so I gave it some but M30 was okay. M30s, they addressed every single complaint. People were like, dude, processor is not that good compared to Snapdragon and all that. So they took the Exynos processor they had like an older version of Exynos 9000 series. They upgraded to 9611, which is much more advanced, much more capable. At this point, it's like good processor. It's not whoa processor, but it's good processor. So they made it in M30s, which was released 6 months after M30 release. So they took M30s, removed it from the market, rebranded it M21s, and they addressed some problem. Problem number one, it did not have any protection. In the glass was basically bareback. So they added Corning Gorilla Glass, which is awesome. And now you can get 64GB 4GB RAM variant and dual camera setup. While it does look like it has 3 camera setup, while Samsung does say it's a triple camera, be mindful you can only access 2 of them because third one is a depth sensor. So it's a dual camera setup, and you can buy this for around 14,000 rupees. Now it does have a high-end variant where you can get 6GB for 128GB of capacity. I suggest do not buy that. It's not worth it, specifically because this also has that same luxury. You can increase the capacity using micro SD card. So for 14,000 rupees, this is quite good. They fixed all the problems. Basically, camera is the weak link of Samsung. They fixed it by using brute force. So M21 is really good for offering for 14,000 rupees. Now, what if you want to spend a little bit more? So M31 is the same thing. M30s rebranded. It also has the same processor, 9611 Exynos processor, and it was released in February 2020. It also has the same upgraded thing. Basically, Gorilla Glass 3 is used. It has 64 GB, however, with 6 GB RAM. So your processor will have much more flexing capability. Basically, it can run games much more freely. And not to mention, Android is no longer such a phone where it's like, once you got it, no updates and all that. So updates have been a thing that is becoming more and more reliable. I'm like, my phone is 1 year old and I still got latest OS update. So Samsung is committing to this part, and slowly and surely, Android is becoming good enough where you can be like, dude, at least for 2 years you're gonna get updates. So having a bit more RAM will give you flexing capability. Whereas like, okay, next generation might have screen recording inbuilt into the mobile phone. Basically, Android itself, that will require a bit of RAM. So having 6 GB is a really good thing. It has quad camera setup, which translates to basically it has triple camera. One is wide, one is your main shooter, another is macro lenses, because somebody complained like, bro, close focusing distance is not good enough. They're like, let's just add another camera. So it does have triple camera setup. It does have like very high resolution 32 megapixel front camera, and low light capability is also improved. It went from f2.8 to f1.8, which is really a big improvement. Super steady, so like it's polished M30s, and this is available for 16,500 rupees. So basically, if you value cameras, go for this one. If you value more RAM, go for this. However, be mindful, there is a upper variant of this also, which has 8 GB RAM. Do not buy that, because again, it's still Exynos 9611. 9611 cannot really utilize 8 GB. 6 GB gives you flexing room where you, like, once you start using your mobile phone, you keep installing apps. So at that point you will need 6 GB, but 8 GB, again, the processor cannot utilize it properly. So M31 is generally better choice, simply because again, you can't upgrade the camera in your mobile phone. You can upgrade the memory. This also supports like up to 512 GB of micro SD card. And this also comes with all the standard affair of Amazon 1 year warranty, 10-day replacement, non-contact delivery, and all that jazz. So this is also a very good option. So this was my presentation on basically which camera should you buy in mid 2020. I hope you guys liked it, learned from it. In that case, please click the like button, share it amongst your friends. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I urge you to press dislike, press it twice to show me extra disappointment, and please leave a comment because I try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free, and as always, thanks for watching.